Everything we do is unconventional. None of it should work. But it does.
Over the course of the last 12 months, you've probably been scrolling on TikTok and come across some unusual baseball videos. A seemingly random team dressed in all yellow pulling off some of the craziest mid-game stunts that baseball has ever seen. The entire team and umpire doing a synchronized dance.
Oh, these guys are spot on right now.
The hitter, catcher, and umpire all doing the splits before somersaulting to first base, lighting their bats on fire, and even claiming the title of having the world's tallest pitcher who wore 4-foot stilts out to the mound. That team is called the Savannah Bananas, and behind it all is Jesse and Emily Cole. In this video, we're gonna peel back the curtains to find out how a book about Walt Disney led them to risk millions of dollars to turn the Bananas into the greatest show in sports history. So pour yourself a cup and settle in. This is a bit of business. While you might already know about the Bananas, what you might not realize is that Jesse and Emily Cole are one of the most fascinating entrepreneurial success stories you'll ever hear. You see, before they had nearly 8 million followers on social media, national news coverage, a TV series on ESPN, and a waitlist of over 500,000 people to get a ticket, which is enough to fill their stadium 125 times, by the way, the Bananas were a severely struggling collegiate baseball team, millions of dollars in debt, with very few fans. To fully understand how this all came to be, we need to go back to 1989 when Jesse Cole was 5 years old and his dad signed him up for the South Shore Baseball Club. It was a pretty small training program in Hingham, Massachusetts, and over the course of the next 3 months, Jesse fell in love with the game. And I'd say he grew up to be pretty good. In fact, he was one of only 3 pitchers in the entire state of Massachusetts that could pitch over 90 miles an hour, which caught the attention of not only college recruiters, but professional scouts. Jesse's hard work started paying off in 2003 when he accepted a scholarship to Wofford College to play in their Division I program in Spartanburg, South Carolina. He was a consistent starting pitcher even as a freshman and at a glance seemed to be well on his way to playing in Major League Baseball. However, that all came to a screeching halt his senior year of college after he tore his shoulder and was told he could never pitch again. At this point, Jesse graduated college, but I have to imagine that times were pretty tough. However, if you ask Jesse now, he says it's the best thing that ever happened to him. After graduation, he went to work as a coach in the Cape Cod Baseball League. To put it lightly, this isn't an average league. It's one of the most prestigious amateur baseball leagues in the US, where top college players from around the United States play in the summer months, and an absolute feeding ground for MLB scouts where they pull players like Aaron Judge, Pete Alonso, and Kyle Schwarber.
And so I coached there in the dugout with the best players in the entire country. Everyone went on to the majors, and I was bored out of my mind.
During his time there, he pretty much came to one realization: baseball is extremely boring to watch. The game moved slowly, didn't hold the audience's attention, and he watched every day as fans got up and left before the game was over. Once he was able to finally sit back and see the game from the perspective of somebody sitting on the sidelines, he asked himself one question: what if we made it fun? Now at this point, it was 2008, and Jesse had only been out of college for a little over a year, making it a long shot for him to actually be in a position to make baseball fun, but not impossible. You see, a few years prior when he was in college, he took an internship with a team called the Spartanburg Stingers in the Coastal Plain League. That's also a collegiate summer league played throughout the Carolinas, Virginia, and Georgia. The Spartanburg Stingers taught Jesse 2 things that you need to know to run a baseball club: how to sell tickets and how to get sponsorships. He was able to leverage that experience and landed a job as the general manager of the Gastonia Grizzlies at the age of 23. They were a collegiate ball club in Gastonia, North Carolina, who also played in the Coastal Plain League. To put it lightly, they were the worst team in the league and willing to take a chance on pretty much anybody with a plan. And that's where Jesse's career on the business side of baseball began. Alright, let's be honest, the Gastonia Grizzlies were more than struggling. They had 16 wins and 37 losses in 2007, lost $100,000, and gave Jesse the reins with $268 in the bank account. Remember when I said they would take a chance on anybody with a plan? Well, Jesse had one, and it was rather unconventional. Books about Walt Disney and P.T. Barnum planted seeds in Jesse's head for how he could make baseball more fun. They led him to an epiphany that changed his mindset from being in the sports business to being in the entertainment business. And if you're like me and aren't quite sure who P.T. Barnum is, he started the Ringling Bros and Barnum and Bailey Circus, which was an American traveling circus company billed as the greatest show on earth. Can you see where this is going? Jesse started experimenting with infusing more entertainment into the baseball games. He introduced things like grandma beauty pageants, salute to underwear night, and choreographed dances by the players. It was pretty much the typical sideshow at baseball games, like mascots, t-shirt cannons, and cheerleaders taken to an entirely new level. Now I want you to imagine yourself going going to a Grizzlies game, having gone to a few before, and suddenly you see the pitcher doing the Macarena. It was a genius marketing strategy and took principles like those from The Purple Cow by Seth Godin to make the few fans that went to Grizzlies games go home and have to tell their friends and family about it.
Something that I wrote about in a book a long time ago called Purple Cow. The idea is that if everyone wants to talk about your idea, if they talk about your idea, if they spread the word, then you get past all the spam filters. A purple cow is purple because it's remarkable, worth talking about, worth making a remark about.
In fact, it worked so well that the Grizzlies broke the attendance record every year for the next 7 years. But there was one stunt that completely changed how the next 10 years of Jesse's life would unfold. It came during the final game of the Grizzlies' 2014 season. Jesse put on his now iconic full yellow suit, readied the fireworks display, and got down on one knee to propose to his girlfriend in front of the crowd. She, of course, said yes, and in return surprised Jesse with a trip to no other than Savannah, Georgia. It was during that trip that they went to a minor league baseball game played by a team called the Sand Gnats at the historic Grayson Stadium. It was an absolutely beautiful stadium, the weather was perfect, but the seats were empty. Jesse couldn't believe it. He fell so in love with the stadium that he called the commissioner of his league that night and told him that if the Sand Gnats ever left, he wants to bring a team there. What happened next can only be described as fate. Just a few months after Jesse's visit, the Sand Gnats' 31-year run in historic Grayson Stadium came to an end as they were moving to a new ballpark. City officials had to come see a game in Gastonia themselves and afterwards decided to give him a shot. Jesse convinced the Coastal Plain League to award him an expansion team and the Savannah Bananas were born. Except they weren't called the Bananas just yet. They were nameless, fanless, and had a mountain of problems ahead of them. Regardless, Jesse and Emily showed up and were handed the keys to Grayson Stadium on October 5th, 2015. Unbeknownst to them, the stadium had been stripped of internet, phone lines, and even the furniture. What they did have was Jesse, Emily, a 24-year-old team president, 3 22-year-olds fresh out of college, one picnic table in the middle of a storage room, and a dream. On top of that, although city officials were excited to have a new team in Savannah, the Savannah community was not. And to be fair, they had no reason to be. Nobody knew what they did, who they were, or why they were there. In an unsuccessful attempt to change that, they planned a big launch event in November of 2015 at the City Conference Center. After inviting as many people as they could possibly think of, that included families, friends, residents, and city officials, they were met with a total crowd of around 100 people. Enough to fill 2.5% of Grayson Stadium.
We sold one season ticket in the first 2 months that we were there. That was the starting point where we said, was this the right decision? And as we went through October, November, December, it got harder for us. We weren't selling any tickets. We weren't selling any sponsorship. And it got so bad that the middle of January, I got a phone call on Friday afternoon at 4:45 from one of our employees saying that we completely overdrafted our account.
As it turns out, building a baseball team from the ground up is very expensive. The pair took the fast track from debt-free to $1.8 million in debt from buying the expansion team, the stadium lease, and trying to get things off the ground. They were forced to sell their home, empty their savings account, and sleep on an air mattress in a studio apartment with $30 a week for groceries. It was clear at this point that they needed to do something to catch people's attention.
He's gonna bust it out. All right, do-do-do.
That's right. We have a new name for the baseball team in Savannah, and it is
Savannah
Bananas. That's right.
From late 2015 into the early months of 2016, they held a contest to determine the new name of the team. It seemed like a pretty fun and harmless way to involve the community in the team's story, and the submissions came pouring in. From the Pickles, the Ghosts, and the To-Go Cups, there were only 5 options that made it to the final round out of about 1,000 total submissions. Savannah Anchors, Savannah Ports, Savannah Seagulls, Savannah Party Animals, and the Savannah Bananas. On February 25th, 2016, they officially announced the new name of Savannah's newest sports team, the Savannah Bananas. So how many votes did it take for the name Bananas to come out on top? Well, about 1. Much like Walt Disney and P.T. Barnum, Jesse loved the unconventional. At that point, it really didn't matter whether they made people happy, mad, or sad. They just had to get them to feel something. But nobody saw coming what happened next. Within 30 minutes of announcing the new name, they were the #1 trending topic on Twitter. It was unlike anything a summer college baseball league team had ever experienced before. The next day, day, ESPN was reaching out for interviews, and the Savannah Bananas finally made their first $1. But it wasn't from baseball games. Jesse started clicking refresh on his email and noticed that they were selling new merch every couple of seconds to people across the world. Within just 2 weeks, they had shipped out Bananas merch to all 50 states. Local newspapers, all the way to CBS Sports and the MLB, were publishing articles about Savannah's new baseball team. And some people even tore them apart, saying things like Jesse should leave town and would never sell a single ticket. But one thing was clear, and it was all because of the name that people knew about the Savannah Bananas. It turns out they would sell a single ticket and then some. On Thursday, June 2nd, 2016, the Savannah Bananas sold out their first game. They were officially operating the first of its kind baseball show, had a mascot named Splits, the stunts were getting crazier, and the fan base was growing.
Community support has been unbelievable, selling out almost every game, 4,000 fans plus.
The club went on to sell out 17 of their 22 home games in their inaugural season, setting the new Coastal Plain League record. The Bananas won their first Coastal Plain League championship in August of their inaugural season. Jesse realized that the players actually played better baseball when the fans were having more fun. So he took what's usually only the role of the team mascot and gave it to every person on the field. They hired senior citizens and started a 65-plus dance team called the Banana Nanas, a man-only cheerleading squad called the Man Nanas.
I'm Marty Jones. I'm one of the Savannah Bananas.
Hired a pep band to play like they would at a college football game and ramped up the now famous dance skits. They'd broken the Collegiate Summer Baseball League attendance records in both of their first seasons, had plenty of national news coverage, and were pulling fans from across the country to see the show in Grayson Stadium with a growing wait list of over 10,000 people. But there was still one problem. No matter how many entertaining circus-like acts they threw into a 9-inning game, fans would still leave early. As it turns out, the solution to get people to stick around to the end of the game might have been a whole lot easier than hiring a senior citizens dance team. You see, the average length of an MLB game has been over 3 hours since 2016. In 2018, Jesse started brainstorming what parts of the game he thought were boring and quite literally changed the game of baseball. He called up his old coach from college and asked him if he'd be willing to lend his players to test a new concept, banana ball. They'd come up with 8 official rules to make the game more exciting. 1. Each inning is played separately, meaning whichever team gets more runs in an inning gets 1 point. Whichever team has more points after 9 innings wins. 2. Games had a 2-hour time limit no matter how many innings have been played. 3. No bunting. 4. Batters can take off from home plate and steal first base at any time. 5. There's no walks. On ball 3, a runner can take off. The catcher must throw the ball to every position player before the runner can be tagged out, and the runner can advance as far as they want. 6. Batters can't step out of the batter's box, and if they do, it's a strike. 7. No mound visits. And rule number 8, if a fan catches a foul ball, it's an out. They played a 9-inning game behind closed doors and finished it in 99 minutes. However, it wasn't for another year and a half that Jesse and the team mustered the confidence to unveil Banana Ball to a real crowd. It was almost the start of the 2020 season and what was about to be the craziest year of the 20th century for the Savannah Bananas and the world. As the world shut down, the Bananas, unlike most sports teams, continued to play in front of a crowd at half capacity. If there was ever a time to test a brand new concept, it was then. So just before the start of the 2020 season, the Bananas hosted the first ever official Banana Ball scrimmage. The stadium filled up, the team split into 2 sides, and the fans loved it. So much so that a new project sprung up that was spearheaded by the team's vice president, Barry, to start an entirely new team to play Banana Ball versus the Bananas. He handled pretty much everything from uniform creation to putting the actual team together, which consisted mostly of the local collegiate baseball talent. And the Savannah Party Animals were born. A lot of people say that the party animals to the Bananas are what the Washington Generals are to the Harlem Globetrotters. Except that's not entirely accurate because the baseball games aren't rigged and the party animals are there to win. Regardless, the Savannah Bananas now had a fun, fast-paced game, a new team to play against them whenever they wanted, and plenty of time with the cutback 2020 season. There was just one thing left until total world domination. It was late 2019 that the Savannah Bananas started interviewing candidates for a digital marketing internship. One question asked during the interview process just might have changed the course of the Bananas forever. What's one thing you'd change about our marketing? Savannah allies didn't hesitate. Oh, I'd get you guys a TikTok, like easy peasy, that's one thing where I think y'all could grow. When Savannah showed up for her first day, she was assigned her summer project, TikTok. On June 5th, 2020, they had their first video clock over 100,000 views. They started gaining momentum by leaning into their female audience, showcasing things like shirtless dancing players. Savannah actually managed to grow the Savannah Bananas TikTok account to over 200,000 followers by the end of the summer, 70% being female. In the years since, the content's transitioned to a more broad entertainment lens and leaning into trends, and it's not uncommon for their videos to get multiple millions of views. The future of the Savannah Bananas became clearer as Banana Ball started to outgrow the team's traditional collegiate summer league. That led Jesse, Emily, and the Bananas on a quest to bring it to more people. The team did a 7-city tour in 2022 where they hit the road and brought the full Circus baseball show directly to their social media followers. They ended up selling 8 times as many tickets as MLB spring training games in the same stadiums. Business was booming. Bananas merch was still being sold across the country, and at $25 a ticket, they would make $100,000 per home game in just ticket sales. The 2022 season would be the final season the Bananas would play in the Coastal Plain League. With over 8 million followers on social media, it was time to go all in on Banana Ball. In February of 2023, they embarked on a 70-game tour across 33 cities in 22 states where they showcased trick plays, TikTok dances, and of course, Banana Ball. The waitlist for tickets shot to 500,000 people before the tour even started, and the team's president expects 2023's revenue to be 6 times more than it was before 2020. The business of the Bananas is unlike any other sports team. Jesse and Emily Cole represent what it truly takes to follow your dreams with unwavering persistence. They also showcase time and time again their extreme ability to iterate and adapt when their plan wasn't going well. From tearing his shoulder, to transitioning from player to coach, to recognizing the problems of the game that he loved, to calling the league's commissioner on a whim to pitch plans for a new team, to winning over the hearts of the people of Savannah, to completely changing how the game of baseball is played. The duo never stopped moving forward, even when it seemed like they were making it nowhere. Jesse says his goal isn't to create a billion-dollar brand, but to win over 1 billion fans. Thank you so much, truly, for watching the video to this point. I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give it a like and subscribe for more. I'll see you in the next one, and remember, spread some smiles.